if I die now, people will forget about me. And this is a frightening for a young person, but I think for everybody. So that's why we want to achieve something in life, do something, or have a family, or achieve something else. And this is as well why I never ever gave up hopes that I'll make it. And when we got married, my first aim was really to have a big family. And we've got 5 grandchildren by now, and so slowly we're trying to build up a family again. So there's just one other little story I'd like to tell you, and that is about Anne Frank tree. You might have, I'm sure if you have read the book, you remember that is the back of the Anne Frank House and Museum. There is in the back a huge chestnut tree. Chestnut tree is a beautiful tree. Lots of, when it flowers, it's sort of candles in pink or in white. And this was the only contact Anne had with nature. She looked out of the little attic window and looked at this tree, so she saw the seasons. And this tree is very, very old. It's 300 years old now, and it's dying. And so the neighbors and everybody said, well, we have to cut down this tree. And of course, anything to do with Anne Frank is in television, is in the news, and it was in the news all over. And the Anne Frank house got thousands of letters from all over the world. Oh, you can't do that, you can't cut down this tree. That is a symbol of Anne, it's a memorial, and so on. And I was very, very upset about that. I said, when a tree is being cut down, this is natural, this tree is 300 years old, you know, cut it down, plant a new tree, so for another 300 years generation will be able to see this tree. The whole world protested, but when Jewish people were murdered, there was no voice to protest about it. So they have a court order now. The tree is embraced by an iron, well, kind of like a cage to keep it standing up and to try to keep it going. But of course, eventually, they will have to cut it down anyway. So this is my story in a nutshell. Of course, in the books, there's much, much more and much more great details.
On behalf of everyone here tonight, I'm sure when I say, and you mentioned before, that you could be here until 11 o'clock to tell your story, I'm sure most of us would sit here to listen to that story. You mentioned before when someone asked a question about, I usually get that question when children ask, when I speak to children. I think when it comes to your story and everyone here tonight, we are all children. As you mentioned, it's probably the most awesome story episode, certainly in our history. And as someone mentioned before, what are we going to, or who's going to tell the story to those people? I think we heard it from the witness yourself here tonight, an inspirational story, a story that I'm sure we will all live with forever. We will certainly take that story with us and pass on and communicate that story to all those people who haven't heard the story. So this, as you said, is one of the great stories. It's a story that must never be forgotten. It's an inspirational story. It certainly gives us, everyone here tonight, perspective when we complain about certain things. And I've seen this with many survivors. If I can just mention on a personal note, it's Mendy and myself, our grandmother's anniversary, who was also a survivor. Her whole family was murdered by the Russians in the Ukraine. She had to survive with 4 little children. Her husband was killed fighting for the Red Army. And I remember talking to some of the grandchildren, and they said what was remarkable with most of the survivors was that they never complained. And we in our own lives, when we do complain about little things, it's all immaterial, it's all meaningless when we listen to your story. So again, we thank you very, very much for sharing your story. And please God, on behalf of everyone here, we wish you lots of healthy years, to continue telling the story in such a beautiful, powerful, almost in a way positive, that is inspirational to all of us. We will continue to tell that story. We thank you very, very much for being with us here tonight. We are privileged to have with us the two books. We've got the Promise and Eva's Story, which are all signed, and they are for sale here tonight. Again, it's an inspirational story. It will put things into perspective for us, and again, we thank you very, very much. And finally, again, when you've come here tonight, the Centre for Jewish Life, there are lots of exciting activities going on a whole bunch of fronts: social, cultural, educational, business, etc. We will be in touch with you in terms of the other events coming up. We thank you for coming here tonight. Have a wonderful evening.